Well, welcome everyone to the North Penn Alumni Athletic Association's 11th, believe this, annual Hall of Fame Induction Ceremony. To start off this evening's events, we're going to start off by having the North Penn Choir sing the national anthem and the school alma mater. So if you'd come out, please.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? As knights who in the olden times would pledge their loyalty to keep their honor shining and ever true to be, we entered here at North Penn High with hearts resolved to dare our noblest aim to bring to fame our alma mater fair.
Well, that makes you proud, doesn't it? Then before we begin, why don't we just have a moment of silence for those loved ones, teammates, coaches, that classmates that we've lost over the years, please. A moment of silence. Okay, thank you very much. So, this year's induction ceremony is going to be remembered for inducting our 5th Lifetime Achievement Award, eight outstanding athletes, 1 special recognition individual, which is our first time we've ever had a special recognition for individuals. We've had them for teams, but not an individual. 4 Pennsylvania State Championship teams. So it's going to be a great night. Now, first of all, I would like to thank the following people who helped make this possible: Superintendent Curtis Dietrich, Principal Todd Bauer, Athletic Director Bill Bartle, and Linda Law and their staff, Representative Bob Godshaw and Senator Bob Mensch, who provided beautiful citations for each inductee, including the teams, Ken McLarnon for doing the program. Bob Gilmer is filming this event and has since the beginning. Bob Gilmer also maintains the night site, which is our website, which, by the way, has all of the inductees, all of the scholarship winners, Pictures from every event starting back in 2005. The names and profiles are up on the walls of honor. There are two Hall of Fames at North Penn. One is the Athletic Hall of Fame, and the other one is a Lifetime Achievement Hall of Fame. We started the Athletic Hall of Fame, I believe the first class was 2005. The wall went up in 2006. We started the wall, and then in 2011, we started the Lifetime Achievement. And we've had some remarkable people. If you should take a few minutes to go down and read the plaque profiles of all the athletes and of the Lifetime Achievement inductees. There's some remarkable profiles, some achievements that have been accomplished. So, since we've been established in the year 2000, we've successfully awarded 87 scholarships ranging in value from $100 to $500 for a total contribution of $52,150 to outstanding senior student athletes. Our membership now stands at 460, and we have a goal. As a group, I've been blessed with the board of directors that pretty much has been stayed together the whole time, and this is my 12th year as president. We've had two people leave, but we have an outstanding board of directors. But we have a goal of 500 members, and so we're 40 short. We have a goal of 1,000, but in the next foreseeable year and a half, we'd like to be able to get to 500 members. Now, we sustain the organization with memberships and donations. We're a nonprofit. We're part of the North Penn Coordinating Council. We're a 501c3 organization, so we depend on donations and memberships, just in case you didn't know that. So year to date, counting this year's class, we will have inducted 148 individual athletes, 1 special recognition individual, 31 championship teams. Only 2 of those 31 aren't state champions. That was the 1937 and 48 football teams because they didn't have state championships then. All the rest are Pennsylvania state championship teams, which is pretty remarkable. If you follow high school sports, I believe, Mr. Don Ryan, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think we're second in the state. I think Northern Allegheny out near Pittsburgh has like 3 or 4 or 5 more championships than we do. So North Penn High School, by the way, has been written up twice in Sports Illustrated as the most outstanding high school athletic program in the state of Pennsylvania. So there's a lot to be proud of, and we have a lot to talk about. We have our 5th Lifetime Achievement Award winner going in this year, which is of the 5 people, they've done some remarkable things. And it's exciting to see that North Penn High School produces that quality of person that goes on and makes a major contribution to society in general. We also have put in 13 special recognition teams, which are teams that didn't win state championships, but the board of directors felt deserved special recognition because they made a significant contribution in some fashion. So with that, I would like to introduce we have 2 North Penn graduates who are going to MC the induction ceremony. And they've been with us again since the beginning. The first is Mr. Joe Heyer, class of 1990. Joe's a North Penn graduate in 1990, is currently a senior advertising executive with the Philadelphia 76ers and the Flyers. In addition, Joe is a play-by-play announcer who has appeared on ESPN2 versus Comcast Sportsnet and the Temple University Sports Network. The second gentleman is Kyle Berger, North Penn High School class of 1999. He was a 4-year varsity wrestler. He graduated at the University of Miami, and currently announces the football games for WNPV 1440. So with that, let me bring up Kyle and Joe, or one or the other, whoever's going to kick this off, and we'll start the induction. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Joe, by the way. Kyle's over here. When you read the bio of the wrestling exploits, they obviously were not mine. He's the wrestler. Let's begin the program tonight. Our first award of the night is our Lifetime Achievement Award. It's the 5th year of the award, and for the first time, our honoree is already a member of the Athletic Hall of Fame. Pat Wagner Henry, class of 1967, was enshrined here in the Hall of Fame in 2008 for her exploits on the playing field, as well as her coaching career at North Penn, which included 8 swimming league titles in 10 years, a state championship, 4 individual All-Americans, and 11 relay All-Americans. She left North Penn in 1980 and joined the athletic department at Harvard University, and she's been there ever since. She currently serves as Senior Associate Director of Athletics. Her lifetime of achievement is long and storied and too long to get into in full detail here, so I took just one snapshot. We looked at last year, 2014. Harvard won 10 Ivy League titles, went to the national championship game in field hockey, hosted ESPN Game Day prior to the prestigious Harvard-Yale football game, and named its 54th Rhodes Scholar. Many don't realize, but Harvard has the largest intercollegiate athletic department in the country, and Pat has been at the heart of it ever since for her 3 decades. Pat helped bring the 2006 NCAA Women's Final Four to Boston, serving as president of the local organizing committee. She served on the U.S. Olympic Women's Rowing Committee. She was secretary of the U.S. Olympic Committee Education Council, and she was co-coordinator of the U.S. Olympic soccer matches in Boston in 1984. That's just a small sliver of the numerous international and Olympic boards she served on. One achievement of particular note, she created Harvard's Radcliffe Foundation, which has been modeled around the country. This program has greatly broadened athletic opportunities for women at Harvard, and that's a big reason why Harvard has the largest athletic program in the country. In all, Harvard supports 42 varsity sports, 1,200 NCAA athletes, and 3,000 club and intramural athletes. In 2007, Pat was named NCAA Women's Administrator of the Year. And this marks, to our knowledge, at least her 4th Hall of Fame. She was inducted into the Gettysburg Athletic Hall of Fame in 1987 and received Gettysburg's Distinguished Alumni Award in 2009. Ladies and gentlemen, our 2015 Lifetime Achievement honoree, Patricia Wagner Henry.
So I'll make one correction, Joe. Actually, it was our women's ice hockey team that made it to the final game of the NCAA tournament last year. They'd want me to make that correction. It wasn't field hockey, it was ice hockey. And that team we're very fortunate because that team happens to be coached by the United States Women's Olympic ice hockey coach from the last Winter Games. So they're a very special group. So it's great to be here with you all tonight, and those lights are so bright I can't even see any of you, but I want to just congratulate all of you who are being inducted into the Hall of Fame. It's a really fabulous thing. Thank you to the NPAAA for your work over the years to bring this organization to the fore and to bring it and make it alive. I think it's fabulous for the alumni of North Penn. It's really particularly wonderful for the students currently at North Penn. And I hope that they will continue to be exposed to it because they're going to be in our ranks real soon. So I simply wanted to say that, you know, my time at North Penn was foundational to my lifetime, to my work career, both my time during as a student here in the 60s, and then coming back after 4 years at Gettysburg College to take my first job as a teacher and a coach in a brand new building. My first day of work was the first day that this original North Penn High School opened, and it was absolutely fabulous. I had wonderful mentors and teachers along the way, as did all of you. Al Broadhag was my boss when I left, and he was absolutely fabulous. Rick Carroll taught me everything I ever knew about coaching, and together we started the girls and boys swim teams and got the aquatics club going, and boy, they are really super these days. Russ Stewart was our athletic director, and Russ took many trips to Penn State with our swimmers in a station wagon full of kids. Dorothea Ball was both my coach as a student and a colleague who taught me a whole lot about teaching in high school in those days. And who of us here haven't worked with Donald Ryan? Don, you've been a mainstay, you're an icon in this community, and it's fabulous, and that's exactly why I wanted to sit next to you tonight. And I also want to thank Maribel Waldo, who's no longer with us, but she hired me sort of sight unseen. I walked into her office one day, and I walked out of there with a teaching contract. I don't know how it happened, but it happened. There were awesome students and athletes, which is really why we're here, why we do this business, those of us in education. It's all about the kids. If the kids weren't here, we wouldn't have jobs. And I learned so much. The rudiments of building teams and developing people have carried me through the years since, and I learned so much here. I think that once you leave a place, you get to reflect, and there were so many outstanding moments. We had so much fun with our swim teams that I can't even begin to recount, but I would just point out two things during those times. One, Gabby Miller, who sadly is no longer with us as well, was the first girl from North Penn to receive a swimming scholarship, and we were so very proud of that. And that began a cascade of opportunities for our girls in the college scene. And when I left, Selma Robinson was selected to take my place as a teacher and the coach of the North Penn girls, and I couldn't be prouder still today of the work that she carried forward and the wonderful leadership that she brought to this high school. And I think she might not be with us tonight because she became a new grandmother again this morning at an early hour. So yesterday, as we all know, there's no such thing as a free lunch. So if anyone in the audience is ever has the honor to be offered this Lifetime Achievement Award, you will know that there is a bit of a price to pay. So I spent yesterday here at the high school talking at a student assembly early in the morning, and we did some work later in the afternoon for students who wanted to come to a sort of a Q&A, and it was absolutely a fabulous experience. I simply want to say, because Todd Bauer is with us somewhere, there he is in the corner, so sad that, happy, bittersweet that we beat Souderton last night, but good way to go, North Penn, that's fabulous. But also to say that this school is a different place than the one I left decades ago. We walked in together tonight, my mother and I, and my mother says, this place is neat as a pin. I said, Mom, this is what it looked like yesterday when I walked through here. It's absolutely fabulous. Met wonderful students, engaged students, respectful students, great teachers yesterday, had little conversations about some of the curricula that are developing, and had an opportunity to meet some fabulous people. So those of you who have been out for a little while, this place is really hopping, and it's fabulous. And I want to congratulate the leadership, Todd, Billy in the athletic department, everyone who's involved in a leadership position for the high school, because it's absolutely fabulous. And during that, my time yesterday with the students, we talked about two things. I wanted them to remember two things. I'm going to share it with you. We talked about success, failure, and success. And in that mode, I brought a message that I kind of did a little informal survey with our coaches at Harvard, who are absolutely outstanding teachers, and asked them what their top two sort of characteristics of outstanding teams were. And to a person that I asked, I got the same answers over and over again. One is resilience, the ability to bounce back and move through adversity. And secondly, accountability. Your ability to answer to everyone you work with, your families, your bosses, the people that work for you, your coaches, your teachers, and most importantly to yourself. I think in the work that I do, these two characteristics are sometimes the hardest lessons for people, but absolutely fabulous. And I will say that teams generally that are successful at the end of the day are the ones who have the best resilience, and every kid on that team is being accountable for his or her responsibilities. And these are lessons that are just taught over and over again. My job at Harvard is about resolving issues and removing the obstacles for success. I have the opportunity, and I'm blessed, to work with incredible students who are fabulous learners and incredible coaches who are fabulous teachers. I can't tell you how much they inspire me every day. And so what I want to do, instead of talking further about Harvard, I'd like to talk about one coach in particular who, in my estimation, I would just say that I've been the most fortunate to have known him. He is the most intriguing, the most accomplished, and the most very special person that I have encountered at Harvard in all of my years. And that person's name is Harry Parker. We're going to see a video in just a second on him because it's that special. Harry graduated from the University of Pennsylvania. He was an Olympian himself. He coached several Olympic teams. In his time as the Harvard coach of heavyweight crew, men's heavyweight crew, he had 22 undefeated regular seasons. He won 16 national championships. And his last 2 years of life were really a struggle because he was ill. 2 weeks before he died, he sat in a chair on the banks of the Thames River in Connecticut and coached his Harvard crews to their 44th victory over Yale in his 51 years as a head coach. There's never been anyone like him, and he's really one that would be very difficult to replace. He is iconic in the world of crew. You can go to China, you can go to Eastern Europe, you can go anywhere in the United States, both with U.S. rowing or talking to college coaches. And all you have to say is, Harry said this, and they will know who you're talking about. Anyone who's referred to internationally by their first name has to be iconic. So this is Harry Parker, and I'd just like you to take a look at this video. It tells the story about Harry, but it also tells the story about the place that I work.
I'm Harry Parker. I'm the head coach of the men's heavyweight rowing program. This is actually my 52nd year here at Harvard, 50 years with the varsity program. I think of myself as a teacher. A fairly narrow curriculum, you might say. What I do really is help nurture traits that are already there within the rowers. You know, they come here, they're highly motivated, clearly they're competitive, they're smart, and what I do consciously or unconsciously is create an environment that fosters or strengthens those traits. You have to work hard, you have to be responsible, you have to be accountable, you have to have a lot of perseverance, you have to deal with a lot of frustration. Because, you know, it's not, quote, fun the way other sports are, like kicking and maneuvering in soccer. It's not a game. Basically, it's hard work. As soon as I started rowing, I had the feeling that this is wonderful. It's a great sense of power of you. You can harness the strength in your body and you can make the boat move. And if you do it really well, you know, the boat responds, and it's quite exciting. It takes people who are patient, who are willing to work hard and deal with a lot of frustration until they get it right. But once that happens, they're hooked. They're hooked for life, basically.
That video was done about 12 months before Harry died. So I'm going to leave you with the following. This comes from the commencement speech at Stanford in 2005. It was given by Steve Jobs. Kind of appropriate because the movie on Steve Jobs is about to debut. But I want to share this thought with you. It was called, "You've Got to Find What You Love." Steve Jobs' mother gave him up for adoption soon after he was born. He went to college, but he dropped out, and then he dropped back in to take classes that he wanted to, but he never finished. He started Apple with a friend in his father's garage, and 10 years after he founded Apple and produced the first Macintosh, when the company had grown to over $2 billion with 4,000 employees, Steve Jobs was fired from the company that he started. Eventually, he later admitted that the heaviness of the successes yielded to the lightness because he was no longer working of what could be, and he started over. Some of what he did after he left Apple during that period is he founded two companies. One was called Next and the other Pixar. You all know Pixar as actually producing the first computer animated film, Toy Story. Apple eventually bought Next, and Steve Jobs was back at Apple. The technology from that company in 2005, he said, was at the heart of Apple's renaissance at that point. And I'll quote him at this commencement to these Stanford graduates. He said, "I'm pretty sure none of this would have happened if I hadn't been fired from Apple. Sometimes life hits you in the head with a brick. Don't lose faith. I'm convinced the only thing that kept me going was that I loved what I did. You have to find what you love. The only way to do great work is to love what you do. If you haven't found it yet, keep looking. Don't settle. As with all matters of the heart, you'll know when you find it. So keep looking until you find it and don't settle. My wish for all of you is that you find what you love and that you take it for a grand ride." Thank you, everyone. I'm honored to be with you tonight.
Good evening. Before we begin with our individual athletic inductions, I'd like to invite up the president of the North Penn Alumni Association, Ms. Katie Andrew.
Thank you, Kyle, and thank you to the North Penn Alumni Athletic Association for having me here tonight. I'd like to start by congratulating all the inductees on this incredible, well-deserved honor. I hope that many of you were able to take advantage of the tours that we offered earlier this evening by the Student Government Association. I know North Penn has changed a little bit for some of you, a lot for others, but I hope that you were able to take a look around the school and what we have to offer today. This additional activity was organized by the North Penn Alumni Association in hopes that tonight's welcome back could feel more like a welcome home, a feeling that I think is especially important this year. For those of you who don't know, the 2015-2016 school year marks the 50th anniversary of North Penn School District. The North Penn Alumni Association, along with community members, staff, alumni, and parents, have been hard at work since early June, coordinating events to help the North Penn community celebrate this milestone in our history. Our large fall event, which I hope many of you have already heard about, is our Thanksgiving Day Hometown Classic. This Thanksgiving Day, we are rebooting an old community tradition doing our Thanksgiving Day football game against Lansdale Catholic. This year we're doing it a bit different though. We are inviting alumni back from both LC and North Penn to play in this game. So we have, at this point, 51 members from North Penn playing on Thanksgiving Day and about 34 from Lansdale Catholic, but we have extended registration one more week, so you have until 11:59 this Friday, October 16th, to sign up to relive your glory days at your old stomping grounds. So we actually have alumni cheerleaders from both LC and North Penn joining us, as well as alumni from the North Penn Marching Knights. So I hope to see many of you there. I know that we have actually one of our inductees tonight, Jeff Ukele, signed up, so thank you for that. And I hope to see more names in that list come Friday. If football's not your thing, we still have plenty of events throughout the entire school year for both the community and all members of the district to help you enjoy the 2015-2016 50th birthday of North Penn School District. So thank you again to the NPAAA, and I hope you guys all have a great night.
Thank you, Katie. And I don't know if you saw some eyes lit up from the 2006, 2008 track guys that played football when you said join that alumni football game. So I hope to see you guys there. Let's get on with the individual nominees and inductees this evening. And our first inductee is someone who has gone far, but has also kept his roots firmly planted in the North Penn community. In fact, due to his involvement in North Penn's Community Football Day that's going on right now, we bumped him to the top of the program so he can get back outside and coach some football. In the storied football history of North Penn High School, Jim Williams will always be listed as the first 1,000-yard rusher in program history. He accomplished that feat in his junior season and repeated that in his senior year, both under head coach Bill Travers. With that success, both on the field and in the classroom, Jim earned a full ride to the University of Pittsburgh. He was a 4-year letter winner for the Panthers while earning his economics and math degree. He also picked up a master's of education in 5 years. Jim was an assistant coach for 16 years here at North Penn High School and served as the running backs coach on the 2003 state championship football team. He is currently a 7th grade math teacher at Pembroke Middle School and coaches football, track, and basketball there. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in congratulating our first individual inductee tonight, Mr. Jim Williams.
All right, I didn't, Kyle took all my, everything I was going to say away, so maybe I don't even have to say anything. He spoke about how I was a coach for 16 years. The thing is, I knew a lot about the Hall of Fame because every time I walked down that sports hallway, I could see all the names up there. So I've been kind of waiting for this day, hoping it would come at some point. I wish I could go back and do it over again, but obviously, that's not possible. Now, when I tell a player, that I coach, look, this is the way you do this or this is the way you do that, and they don't want to listen to me, I can say, you know what, go walk down that sports hallway and look at my plaque up there, and then come back and talk to me when you're ready. But the one thing about North Penn, there was never a day that I didn't enjoy coming to school, okay? Whether it was just for academics, whether it was sports, I enjoyed every minute of my experience here. As a student and athlete at North Penn, I had many, many great experiences. But I didn't really appreciate the educational experience until I attended college. I happened to have a roommate. It's funny, my one roommate is here. He actually coaches track and coach football, but we had another roommate. And coming into school, we would spend a lot of time with the 25 or 26 new recruits, and we'd work with the academic advisors and so forth. And he came in and he said, I was a top 10 in my class. So I said to him, top 10 in your class, what was your GPA? And he said, my GPA was a 3.2. And then that kind of opened my eyes and said, you know what? if you went to North Penn, you probably wouldn't have been in the top 200 with a 3.2. So that's when I realized that, you know, what I was able to receive from North Penn, not only athletically, but also educationally, was unbelievable. So, you know, I have a lot of visual pictures that occurred in my life that I can almost, you know, see them and realize, hey, that changed a lot in my, you know, my lifetime and made me make changes in my life. You know, on that same note, you know, dealing with our academic advisors, I can remember the first week of school, we met with our academic advisors and they said, you know, you're going to have football practice from 12 to 5 every day. So I said, okay, I mean, that's understandable. You're going to go to classes in the morning. You're going to have classes in the evening because during the daytime, when most of the kids are going to class, you're going to be at football practice. So, okay, that works. And then they threw something else. They said, you're going to have a tutor for every single class that you have. So I'm thinking, okay, this market period, I have 15. This semester I have 15 credits. That's, you know, 5 classes. So I have to you know, find time to deal with 5 tutors a week. And then, oh, and by the way, we have study hall Sunday nights. So, you know, listening to that, I'm saying, look, I went to North Penn. I never needed a tutor when I was in high school. But that showed me that coming from North Penn, it prepared me to be the best possible student I could be once I got to college. And one more, I enjoy telling stories because, like I said, a lot of things that really stick out on my mind. But, you know, as a high school kid, obviously I thought I was a good athlete. Every kid's dream is to go to the NFL. And I realized probably my sophomore year, we happened to be in a scrimmage. And, you know, at the time, it's funny, I don't want to jump around, but our running back was Curtis Martin, okay? And Curtis Martin is a Hall of Famer, played for the Jets, played for the Patriots. But at that point, I was chasing down Curtis Martin, trying to tackle him. And I looked to my right, and I noticed that there was a defensive tackle who probably outweighed me by about 100 pounds. And he was running stride for stride with me. And I realized then that I better make sure I get this degree because it wasn't going to happen that way. But, you know, I spent 4 years and I was able to graduate in 4 years, okay, with a math and economics degree. And I still had 1 year to play because I was redshirted my first year. And, you know, talked it over with my parents, and, you know, I had to find some course of study for my last year in order to play. And I started to think back, and I said, you know, who were the people that were influential in my lifetime? And I thought about it, and obviously my parents are, you know, very influential, but other than my parents, most of the people were educators, okay? So I said, you know what, I'm going to try to, you know, see what education is all about and maybe get into an education program. So that was my next step. My 5th year, I was able to get my certification to teach, and I also was able to get my master's degree. During my time at North Penn, you know, those people that I talk about who were influential, one was definitely Bill Travers, okay? He's definitely a man of few words, if you know him. He has a lot of stories, but to me, he not only nurtured me on the field, but he also, in class, in school, he made sure that, you know, I was always doing the right thing, and he was like that father at school. And the other person I want to mention is Dr. Juan Bond, who was the principal at North Penn High School at the time. He was, I consider him the parent reinforcer, because he was like the guy who would come around, and the same thing I was hearing at home from my father, he was still telling me during the school day. I was like, I can't get away from this. And there were other coaches, like Coach Swanker for track, Coach Watton for basketball, Dave Torsani for basketball. And what I tried to do was take a little part of all these coaches and try to coach with a little bit and add my own twist into some of these things. My parents, I'd like to thank them. I mean, this is probably, beneficial to them because now it reinforces, just again, how well they did on raising not only myself, but my sisters, pretty successful also. There were times that, I can't remember a time when my mom or dad missed a game, whether it was basketball, whether it was track, whether it was football. At school, we'd have, when I was in college, we'd have a 1 o'clock game. And my mom and dad were on the turnpike making that 5-hour trip, 6 o'clock in the morning, making sure they were there before kickoff. There were times when, after the game, we're going back to the house and maybe I didn't want to hang out with my mom and dad, but, I found time because I knew that support is what it's all about. I do have a game to coach, so I luckily was able to put myself into in front and go first, even though obviously my last name is Williams, so I was probably last. But I will tell you this, from the time I was 14 years old and a sophomore playing football to now, I always get butterflies as I walk down to that stadium, down at Crawford Stadium. So this is my 19th year as a teacher and coach at North Penn, and I was able to coach in 2 state championships. One, we left as winners, and one we didn't. But I could not imagine representing any other colors than the Navy and Columbia blue. Thank you.
"20 minutes till kickoff, Jim, just so you know." Wonder if he's going to coach. You coaching in a suit, Jim? No. Okay, all right. Our next inductee tonight is another example of a student athlete who parlayed success both in the classroom and on the football field into a successful career in athletics, academics, and in his professional career. Dave Costo was a part of the resurgence of North Penn football in the late 90s under the head coach and now current head coach of the Cleveland Browns, Mike Pettin Jr., and the assistant, Dick Beck, who is the current North Penn football head coach. In his time on the gridiron, Dave was honored not only as an All-Suburban One League first-team selection as an offensive and defensive lineman, but also as an All-State selection at both positions. His senior year, he was named to the Pennsylvania Big 33 team and was a Parade Magazine All-American. He also found success on the track and field team as well. He was a 3-time All-League selection in the shot put and placed 3rd in the state his senior year. Dave would continue his football career at Penn State University thanks to a football scholarship. There, he was part of an offensive line that also featured a fellow North Penn Knight and Hall of Fame inductee Chris McKelvey. Dave's example of putting academics first was a tribute to his work ethic and dedication. The Big Ten Conference named Dave to the All-Academic team 3 times, and he was named one of the smartest players in college football in a feature article in Sports Illustrated magazine. One of the lasting things that Costo's legacy has left at Penn State and beyond is the Lift for Life event, which he started with teammates Scott Shirley and Damone Jones in 2003. After raising thousands of dollars for kidney cancer research in its first year, the organization, which is now known as Uplifting Athletes, has raised more than $1 million across more than 25 campuses around the country. Dave earned his bachelor's and master's degrees from Penn State and currently works as the marketing manager for Minitab, a statistical software company based out of State College. He's one of the best examples that we have of North Penn High School athletes striving to accomplish things on and off the field, in the classroom, and in the workplace. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back Hall of Famer, class of 2015 inductee, Dave Costo.
Thank you very much, Kyle. So Kyle and I went to school together, so it was good catching up with him earlier. And you cited that quote about smartest football players or smartest football players in college. So I put that on a resume when I was first got out of grad school. I felt pretty darn good about that accomplishment, and I went in, I sat down, talked to a VP recruiter, and they asked if I ever heard the joke about tallest midget in a room. So I don't think he put a whole lot of stock in that smartest football player in the nation, but it was still quite an honor. It's truly an honor to be here tonight. It's great to be back. It's been a long time since I've been back to North Penn. I really appreciate the North Penn Athletic Alumni Association recognizing me with this honor. It really is to see the names of all the people that are on the list and the inductees. And I see Jeff Ukele out here in the audience tonight. So I can remember coming over here in middle school and watching Jeff. I'd get up in the stands and I'd see Jeff out there running, kind of dreaming like, oh man, I could be out there doing that one day, carrying the ball and scoring all those touchdowns. Now, unfortunately, I was an offensive lineman, so the carrying the ball thing never really happened for me. But I did get to spend quite a bit of time out on the field. We talked a lot about, I think you've heard that kind of one theme already, where the time here at North Penn for me was very foundational, for who I've become as a man and as a husband and as a father. And I think a lot of that certainly that credit has to go to my parents who are here tonight, both my mom and my dad. They've been incredibly supportive. My dad probably was at every single event that I've ever done athletically, whether I was playing or not. So I was a redshirt freshman up at Penn State, and my dad would drive up to every single game, and I'd see him before the game, and even though I had no chance of getting in, he was always there. So Dad, I really appreciate that. And my mom was always kind of the quiet supporter, always encouraged me to do my best, always encouraged me to do well in school. And boy, did she do a lot of carting me around and always kept my laundry very clean. So to that, Mom, I'm very appreciative. I think the other thing we can all agree is that to accomplish a lot athletically, we have great coaches. And we talk about how inspiring coaches can be, and I think that's absolutely true. But I had to laugh about some of the things some of the fondest things that I remember coaches telling me, throughout my years, when I was playing. And I think back to probably the most common quote I heard Coach Swanker ever say to me. I think the word brain damage must have come out of his mouth, I don't know, 2-3 times a week when I was at practice. Or I think about Coach Beck. Whenever somebody'd make a mental error, if I'd make a mental error out on the field, I could hear him screaming from the sidelines, "You're killing me!" I mean, just, because he hated mental mistakes. And then kind of one of the funniest things that I've ever heard, kind of talking with Coach Paterno, I came off on the sideline after blowing a blitz pickup in college, and he came over, and he knew I was an engineer at the time, and he came over and he started kind of really giving me the business, and he said, when you graduate, I want to know every bridge you ever build, because I'm never going to drive over any of them. So I think I have lots of fond memories, but those are some of I think all of us who've played sports, we have those kind of memories of coaches really kind of getting on us to really try to bring the best out in all of us. And I've been fortunate, like many of us here, to have a lot of great coaches. As I said, sports has really kind of been foundational for me, and there's kind of two quotes that really sum up kind of how I think we can live our lives. And really try to push ourselves to be as best as we can be. They've really served me well. And one of them comes, it's from Dick Beck, and it's pretty simple. And he said, "Just do your job and good things will happen." I think that's one of those great quotes. I actually have that printed up in my office. I kid you not, that's where it sits. And I look at it every day. And then the other quote that I have is from Coach Paterno. And he said, "It's not, in life, your success and failure is not determined by what happens to you. It's by how you react to what happens to you." And I think those two quotes, do your job and good things will happen, and essentially all you can control is how you react to what happens to you. I think those are really great life lessons, and they're part of the reason I'm here today. So my final thought, as I've said, I think we've all benefited from great coaches, all of us here, and many of us wouldn't be here today without them. So I encourage all of you, if you're not already involved, find an opportunity to get involved, be a coach, be a mentor, be a leader, be a role model for somebody else so the next generation of athletes has the same opportunities that we did. So it's been a pleasure being here. I'm very humbled to be inducted in the Hall of Fame. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dave. Nice job. Well, when you go look at the wrestling banner up in the North Penn Gymnasium, you find a bunch of wrestlers now on the list of 100 career wins. But the first one in school history is our next inductee, Dan Finaccio. Dan was a true talent from a young age. In 1985, he became the first wrestler in program history called up from the junior high, and he stepped right up. In his freshman year, he was sectional champion. From there, his dominance continued. He repeated as sectional champion 3 more years, was a district champion 3 straight years, Southeast Regional champion 3 straight years, and in 1987, he was named Southeast Regional Outstanding Wrestler. At the state level, he was a 3-time medal winner, taking 6th his sophomore year, 4th his senior year. The highlight came in the middle, his junior year. He was Pennsylvania state champion at 112 pounds. And that gold medal performance catapulted North Penn to its first and only team state wrestling championship. Dan went on to wrestle collegiately Division I Rider University, where he was a 2-time East Coast Conference champion and earned not 1 but 2 bachelor's degrees. Those degrees have served him well. Dan is currently VP of Global HR Operations for the TJX companies. He and his wife Laura have 2 sons, Hayden and Preston, and Dan joins us tonight after a 6-hour drive down I-95 from Massachusetts in the rain last night. Let's welcome our next inductee, Dan Finaccio.
Good news is I didn't prepare a speech, so it'll be quick. I'm sure they told me, I just forgot. But if I was going to start, obviously it's with my coaches, Coach Clavon, Coach Schetzline, who taught me a lot about perseverance and hard work. Even the coaches from the Bantam Leagues, Mr. McCrinchuk, someone who I won't forget, who isn't with us now, but you know, helped me out early in my career. My family, before I stop there, coaches, Doc Ryan for all his support, and Coach Carroll, all the endless pounds I've lost in the swim pool, running up and down the steps, getting ready to lose some weight, so I have to thank him for that. I skipped a couple biology periods, but I don't think anyone will miss that. Family, obviously my parents, the endless hours back and forth coaching and driving me to events, hours and hours in the stands, sitting on those terrible chairs, terrible stadium backs with soreness everywhere. Wrestling is one of those sports where you don't have a lot of people to cover for you, right? You're out there on your own, but you also have the teamwork aspect where you can't let your team down, even if you have a tough match, tough meet, you got to do your best. 2 things, that teamwork and perseverance. I'm proud to say I think I've been able to carry along in my professional and personal career. I owe a lot to the sport, paid for my education, got me my first job. Very honored to be here. I love wrestling. I think it's a great sport. I hope more people do it. I want to thank my fellow inductees tonight and also the association. It's been an honor. Thank you very much.
For the inductees, that's okay, you stay right here. When you get your award, I just want to give you a heads up. Your Hall of Fame pin and your membership pin is stapled to your bag, so just so you know, okay? Thanks.
We ran out of paper clips, sorry. As anyone who has attended these events over the years will tell you, there is no shortage of phenomenal swimmers who have come through the North Penn High School program, and our next inductee, Steve Johnston, is no exception. Steve's swimming career began in his childhood when his doctor thought putting him in the water would help his scoliosis from becoming worse. And that might have been the best prescription in medical history, as Steve found a home in the swimming pool and carved out his own niche in the pantheon of North Penn swimmers. He was the first swimmer and water polo player in program history to win state titles in the same season. Steve was part of the streak, as it's known, of 258 consecutive dual meet wins for the Knights, as his teams went 56-0 in dual competition. He also helped to lead the North Penn water polo team to a 1996 state championship en route to being named an All-American as well as an academic All-American. Johnston's swimming, though, brought a lot of hardware back to Lansdale from the state swimming meet. He was the captain of the 1997 state championship swimming and diving team and earned 3 gold medals as a member of that year's 200 medley, 200 freestyle, and 400 freestyle relay squads. Individually, he placed 5th in the 100 backstroke. Steve's swimming and water polo led him to Grove City College, where he competed in the Division III National Championships. He also helped to start the men's and women's water polo programs at Grove City and was a 3-time academic All-American while being named the Grove City College Sportsman of the Year. Steve and his wife Lindsay live in Fairfield, Connecticut, where they're busy raising 3/4 of a medley relay team with their triplets, Ashley, Christian, and Zachary. Please join me in congratulating our next inductee, Mr. Steve Johnston.
It's fun to be back. The memories come rushing back, and I'm sure all the inductees feel the same way tonight. And congratulations to everyone as well. It's such an honor. So I started essentially coaching my 5-year-old's soccer team this year, and it's about a 4-hour commitment. Nothing too big, but I struggle sometimes actually making it to the practice and stuff, like rushing back from work. And it just made me think and reflect about the coaches that we've had and the commitment, especially the ones that do it for a lifetime. And I just absolutely astounded, utterly amazed, because they are our role models. The reason we are who we are today is because of them. And our parents are fantastic, but you spend people talk about work, how you spend so much time at work versus with your family during the day. So we spend so much time with our coach. I mean, when swimming practice starts at 5:45 in the morning and doesn't end to 8 o'clock at night, you're spending 12 hours a day with that coach pretty much. In school, he's your teacher, everything like that. So it's just absolutely amazing to me that these coaches can do it for years and years and years. And we have some great ones. I mean, Mr. Bartle's been around, who's currently our AD now. He's been doing it for years and years. Coach Carroll was such a role model. Doc Ryan. These are the people that, as high schoolers we looked up to, and I just want to say thank you to them. It's been absolutely amazing. And the reason I say that is that, making it through North Penn swimming, it makes it so easy to actually, have a job, to go through college, things like that, because you're trained to do it. I mean, it's so easy compared to everything we did during high school. And the responsibility and accountability that Pat Henry mentioned earlier, you learned that through this, and it makes you who you are, and I just want to say thank you for that. And every coach who even commits a year or two, I don't know how they do it, but it's absolutely amazing. So, by starting to coach my daughter's soccer team this year, it made me reflect and really, really appreciate it. That's the main thing I wanted to say. I want to thank my parents too. And one thing I just want to call out my dad on is that he came to every single one of the swim meets and water polo games, and he had to adjust his work schedule to do that. And that shows commitment too. So commitment from coaches, commitment from family. It makes you who you are and makes you a better person. And I thank them for that. And it's truly an honor to be inducted tonight. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Steve. North Penn High School was formed in 1955 with the merger of Lansdale, Hatfield, and North Wales. And one of the early pioneers of women's athletics here at North Penn was Christine Albright Kerber. Christine was a 9-time letter winner, 3 letters each, in field hockey, softball, and basketball. In field hockey, she led the maidens to the Bucksmont Championship both her senior and junior years. In basketball, she guided North Penn to 3 consecutive Bucksmont Championships. During her senior year, she set both the single game scoring record with 26 points and the season scoring record with 234 points in 10 games. That's a 23 points per game average before the era of the 3-point line. In all, she was a member of 6 Bucksmont championship teams across 3 different sports. Christine went on to East Stroudsburg University, where she played both field hockey and basketball. In field hockey, she earned All-American honorable mention status, and she was selected to play in the United States Field Hockey Championship game in Los Angeles, California. And even though we use the word pioneer, it's kind of a cliche, but Christine truly was one in women's basketball in college. That was a game at that time that used to be 6-on-6, 3 on offense, 3 on defense. But there was a transition period for a few years to the full court game, so they played 2 on defense, 2 on offense, and 2 rovers that could go full court. And Christine was a rover, and she excelled at that position. She earned both her master's and bachelor's degree at East Stroudsburg, and she then spent over 26 years teaching in the North Penn and Penn Ridge school districts. Christine and her husband live in Telford to this day. They have 2 daughters and 4 grandchildren. Christine spends her free time volunteering at the Penn Ridge Fish Food Pantry and at the Lutheran community. Ladies and gentlemen, Christine Albright Kerber.
Good evening, President Strickland and members of the board and family and friends. Thank you very, very much for the honor that you have given me tonight. I need to thank some people for helping me to achieve this award. So I'm going to start with my family. When we were kids and we had a big family, my mom would say, go out and play. So we did. We played outside after school. And during the summertime, we were outside all day long till we got called in for dinner. My brother Grover and my sister Sue, we were the 3 closest. We were always involved in all the games and team sports and any activities that we did in the neighborhood. All the neighborhoods kind of congregated and we all played together. From them, I learned about team sports and about sportsmanship. Most of the time, the sportsmanship was good, but every once in a while, as families and neighbors know, we had some issues. Both my brother and sister, Grover and Sue, have been inducted into this Hall of Fame as well. And one more family note, we have passed the down to the next generation. My niece, Karen Albright, has been inducted into this Hall of Fame with the 1985 state championship softball team. So congratulations to all 3 of those. Secondly, I wanted to say thank you to all my coaches. And everybody who's up here, I think, has mentioned that coaches were very important to them, and I feel that exact same way. Without their help, I wouldn't have developed into the skills that I had. Our coaches at that time also made high school sports experience lots of fun and gave us lots of fond memories to take on through our life. Many life lessons we learned through our coaches. So I appreciate and thank them. And finally, the third group of people that I'd like to thank are the girls who were my teammates. As you know, when you play with people who have high skill level, you tend to elevate your game as well. Well, I had the good fortune to play on teams with some of the best athletes at that time. At least 7 of my teammates have been inducted into this Hall of Fame. So you can see that I was in good company during my playing time. So I accept this award and dedicate it to all those teammates of mine who made it possible for me to receive this honor. Thank you very much.
Another highly decorated swimmer is our next inductee tonight. While there have been many team and individual state championships won by North Penn swim teams over the years, John Rayburn was at the center of arguably the best dynasty of them all. From 1990 to 1992, the North Penn Knights won 3 consecutive state team championships and set an incredible amount of records along the way. The reason for the team's dominance throughout the years was not just individual performances, but the incredible success that the relay teams had in the water. John helped 4 separate relays win gold, setting 3 state records along the way. As a junior in 1991, John was a 4-time District 1 champion, winning 2 individual events and 2 relays. For his efforts, he was named District 1's Outstanding Swimmer. Those 2 relay teams, the 200 medley and the 200 freestyle relays, would go on to win gold at the state meet that year as well. As co-captain along with Derek Williams in 1992, John led the Knights to a 3-peat at the state meet, leading the 200 medley and 200 freestyle relays to gold, setting state records in the process. He also picked up a silver medal individually in the 100 breaststroke. 4 times he was named an All-American, and 7 times he was named an All-State swimmer. Tonight, he is a new member in the North Penn Alumni Athletic Association Hall of Fame. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in congratulating John Rayburn.
Thank you, everybody. What an honor, that's for sure. Well, the picture they had of me had a lot more hair. I'd like to start out by, thanking the North Penn Hall of Fame and the Alumni Athletic Association for this opportunity. It was about 35 years ago, living in Long Island, New York, I befriended a kid, and he said to me, he goes, "You want to join the swim team?" "I don't know, sure, sounds like fun." Had no clue what it was. Lap after lap after lap. Much different than I expected, but I loved it. The first of many laps I would do, I never imagined that I would end up here tonight. When my family moved back to the North Penn area, I was fortunate to be teamed up with the great coaches and great teams. As a freshman, I could not have been in a better place than the North Penn swim community. Even though Coach Carroll retired as head coach, we knew he was still going to be there to help cheer us on. At times, sorry. but only when he needed. It was the kind of coaching that has had me standing. It's the kind of coaching that has me standing here this evening. He knew how to bring out the best of us. I would like to clarify one thing. I meant to say Coach Bardelli and not Mr. Carroll. Coach Bardelli was my first coach. He's the one who brought the best out of us, as well as Rick Carroll any day of the week. Bill Bardelli is the reason why I'm standing up here, because of his coaching. He coached our team to 4 undefeated seasons, 4 district titles, 3 state championships, and at one point our team was even ranked 3rd in the country. Coach Selma Robinson and I go back a little bit further. Although she was supposed to be here tonight because I was supposed to go out there afterwards, she's now a new grandmother again, as stated. And Coach Selma and I go back a little bit further. She coached me when I was younger. I'm not sure that she knew what she was quite in for. I could be a handful at times. She was like a second mother to me. The love she shows for her swimmers and for the sport will always stay with me. As an adult, I have truly enjoyed sitting in the stands with Mr. Carroll and watching Mrs. Robb run the high school meets. And Mrs. Robb, I could still see her looks to this day, looking at me, talking while diving's going on. And that's frowned upon. I can't thank 3 of you enough for being the foundation of a program that has brought me back to the stands to watch my kids swim for North Penn now. They will help keep the North Penn tradition strong. One thing I can say about the swim program is it goes full circle. I never imagined that I would be sitting in the stands with so many people from my swimming past and cheer each other's kids on together. I would like to thank my mom and dad. I never knew how much work it took to be a swim parent until I became one. Thank you for all your volunteering, cheering, support, for all the sacrifices that you made so I could swim. I was never excited when I got to come back to North Penn and see my son Kyle Supko swim for his high school swim team. Kyle helped to carry on the North Penn tradition during the 4 years he was on the team. He was the recipient of the Rick Carroll Award, which his mother and I are very proud about. Kyle Kyle also followed in my footsteps with becoming team captain of the co-captain of the high school swim team. Now, his mother and I are proud parents, and he is now swimming for the Westchester Rams. Although my wife, Kim, was not used to being in the swim community, it didn't hold her back. She learned what it would take to be a swim parent and spent many hours volunteering, cheering, and etc. She is a very proud parent and proud to be a part of North Penn swimming. Thank you again to everybody for this induction. It means a lot to be recognized for my accomplishments, and have a good evening. Thank you very much.
Thanks, John. And there's so many names over the years and so many illustrious performances with North Penn swimming. But when you talk specifically about sprinting and you talk tops of all time, that conversation has to include our next inductee, Andrew Sarang. Andrew was dominant from the start of his freshman year. He was the anchor of the 1991-2000 medley relay team that won the state championship. Again, in 1992, he anchored the relay again. They not only repeated as state champions, but they also set the state record. Andrew wasn't done that year. In '92, he also anchored the 200 freestyle relay to a state gold medal and another state record. His efforts were instrumental in North Penn's back-to-back team state championships in '91 and '92. On the individual side, he was both the '93 and '94 District 1 champion in the 50 free, and in '94 he capped off his career by winning the state championship in the 50 freestyle. In all, Andrew was a 4-time All-American, 9-time All-State selection. During his career, North Penn went an astonishing 57-0 in dual meets, and Andrew was a part of 4 consecutive league titles, 4 consecutive District 1 titles, and those back-to-back team state championships. He took his talents to University of North Carolina, Wilmington. Ladies and gentlemen, Andrew Sarang. No, Andrew? Okay. Okay. Okay, we'll move on to our next inductee. We heard from Jimmy Williams a few moments ago. Over the years, North Penn, they've had running backs put up numbers. Stan Geiger in the early 70s, Scott Novak in the 1980s, Jimmy, Harold Padgett, Heike Johnson, Akins. But the first guy to put up the big numbers, 2,000 yards in one season, was number 22, Jeff Yakel. Jeff earned a starting position his sophomore year, and he was a big play threat from day one, racking up over 1,300 yards rushing over his first 2 years, but it was his senior year that he had exploded the North Penn record book. In that senior year, he ran for over 2,100 yards in just 11 games. That's 191 yards rushing per game. And it was capped off in dramatic fashion. Thanksgiving Day, 1993, in his final game, he ran roughshod over Lansdale Catholic to the tune of 348 yards. He finished his career with 3,424 career rushing yards. It's a record by a mile, and 36 touchdowns, also a record by a mile. He earned numerous awards from local media, including the Times Herald Player of the Year, the Maxwell Club Award, Intelligencer All-Area, Philadelphia Inquirer, All-Southeastern Pennsylvania, and First Team All-State running back. He also excelled in the baseball diamond, winning 2 letters at North Penn. He was team MVP his senior year, and he was selected to play in the prestigious Phillies Carpenter Cup tournament. Jeff earned a football scholarship to Hofstra, where he earned a bachelor's degree, and he later earned his master's from Newman College. He currently teaches health and phys ed at White Marsh Elementary School. And in the summer, you'll find him in Ocean City, New Jersey, with his wife and 3 daughters. Ladies and gentlemen, Jeff Yakel.
All right. We've heard a lot from a lot of great people tonight, and before I get started, once again, it comes down to coaches, parents, just thanking them for all their support throughout everyone's career. You know, I'm not just speaking on behalf of myself. It's everyone here, as when it comes to sports and athletics. There's a lot of time you have to put into it. What you do on the field, off the field, but it's the preparation by your coaches. It's also all the time your parents are there driving you, dropping you off, but their support and being there. So first I want to just thank the North Penn Alumni Association for nominating me or honoring me tonight for this prestigious club. I want to thank my teammates and coaches throughout the years. I also want to thank my family for all their love, support, and encouragement during my athletic career, not only at North Penn, but throughout all my years. What makes sports so great? Sport is a connection between generations. It's a bridge that allows fathers and sons, or in my case, daughters, to share something that otherwise they might never have had. So I want to thank my dad for making all those sport commitments and making sports such an important part of my life. Sports brings together entire cities for a single purpose. It allows for people nothing in common outside of sports to share an equal footing. So what makes sports so important? Besides all the health and social benefits of sports, sports also gives athletes great qualities that can be used throughout life. For example, confidence. It's present based on preparation, daily work habits, leading to your self-value of hard work. Being able to be teachable. Athletes learn to take correction as a compliment and look at corrections as an opportunity to learn. Pride. Shared pride involves a desire to become as good as possible for yourself and for a group of teammates. Accountability. When things aren't going the way you want to, athletes look at themselves first, then see what they can do to make things better. Senior year, in my 1993 football season, we were asked to use many of these traits or qualities to help make our team successful. As Coach Travers quoted after we were 1-4, "Tough times don't last, but tough people do." We lived by these words and ended the season 7-4. Who would have believed, is one of the comments at the end of our season that Coach Travers said. In reality, we believed. We knew that we could do it. We believed that our hard work, pride, accountability for ourselves and each other allowed us to be successful. Through the years at North Penn, Coach Travers was sure to keep me focused and not let my head get too big. He wasn't just a coach. He mentored and guided me into the direction of playing football at Hofstra. Hofstra wanted me to visit, so Coach drove me to Hofstra in a blizzard, which took us 7 hours to get there, normally 2.5. I'm surprised we made it there, considering I filled the gas tank before we left and never put back the cap on the car. So he's been asking for this gas cap for 21 years now. So Coach Travers, it's right here. I finally got it for you. These qualities of an athlete I use each and every day in my career, my marriage, and my life for success. Sports was and still is an important part of my life. I currently work as a health and PE teacher at White Marsh Elementary in the Colonial School District, where I get a chance to share my knowledge, experience, and passion for athletics. It is there where I met my beautiful wife, Laura, and together we've had 3 amazing girls, Charlie, Reese, and Grayson. I look forward to sharing my love and passion of sports with them. Although you honor me here tonight for what I have accomplished, I believe that team sports are truly a group effort. So I am accepting this honor on behalf of my coaches, my teammates, and family that made tonight possible. Thank you.
Before we continue, just a couple housekeeping notes. As Tom mentioned, this event is being broadcast live in the community on North Penn Television. It will be archived on the North Penn Television YouTube channel, youtube.com/NPTV. And if you'd like a copy of tonight's broadcast, you can email nptv@npenn.org. Time to move on now to special recognition. And as Tom mentioned earlier this evening, this is the first time in the history of this organization that we have an individual receiving special recognition. That individual is Daniel Gallagher for his participation and support of North Penn athletics during his time here. Dan was a football team manager, lettered in bowling, and competed in track and field for the North Penn Knights. In addition to these teams, Dan served as an associate board member of the National Down Syndrome Congress. He was a longtime participant in the Special Olympics, and he competed in a variety of events, winning several of them and medaling in many others. For his efforts, he was named the 1989 Pennsylvania Special Olympics Male Athlete of the Year. The end of his high school career did not end his athletic career, though. Dan has run 2 half marathons and a ton of 5Ks and 10Ks. He has also competed as a downhill skier and a bicyclist. I'm willing to bet that Dan is the only one in the room tonight who has biked the 1,100 miles from Los Angeles to Santa Fe, New Mexico in 11 days. He did so as part of an around-the-world cycling marathon through 16 countries in 1995. It's an understatement to say that Dan might be one of the most versatile athletes to ever come through North Penn High School. And he wanted to make sure that everybody knew this is not his first rodeo. He was inducted into the Special Olympics Hall of Fame in 1998. Gives me great pleasure to congratulate this evening's special recognition inductee. Please join me in congratulating Dan Gallagher.
I am here tonight because of the many opportunities I had at North Penn School District. Thanks go to Coach Jarrett for inviting me to join the bowling team. Coach Rayburn for believing I could do the work as a football manager. Coach Wagner for encouraging me to train with the track team for Special Olympics. Coach Costo for running long distance with me. Coach Kerber for Special Olympic training. Being active and not a spectator has taught me. To become physically fit, to have courage, to set goals, to accept challenges, to grow in self-esteem, at work as a team, to learn sportsmanship, and compete in community events, and most of all, to never give up. Thank you.
That was awesome, Dan. Good job. Congratulations. Our first team being recognized this evening is the 2006 boys indoor track and field team, and I'll ask the members of that team to come forward at this time. Entering the season, there were a lot of questions about this team, probably more questions than answers. There would be a new coach of the indoor track and field team for the first time in nearly a quarter of a century. Gone was Hall of Fame coach Rich Schwanker, although he hung around. It was Jay Jones who would be the head coach of that team. Gone was state champion miler Sean Doyle. So who would step up to the plate? Turns out, everyone did. Coach Jones and his team managed to put together an impressive run of meets with contributions from everyone, from sprinters to shot putters. The 4x800 relay team, long a strength of North Penn track teams, was now being led by 3 sophomores, Zach Montijo, Justin Buchheimer, and Steve Franks. The state meet was not easy, but the Knights were able to overcome an early slip-up in the 4x200 and gutted out the state title. Brandon Turner won an individual title in the triple jump, while the 4x800 relay also took gold. The 4x400 relay was a third-place finisher, and the 4x2 took fourth. Individually, Tylon Hughes finished fourth behind Turner in the triple jump. Chris Paris took fourth in the 60-meter hurdles, and James Green had a fifth-place showing in the shot put. Add it all up, and they're the 2006 state champions. Here they are, the newest members of the North Penn Alumni Athletic Association Hall of Fame, the 2006 boys indoor track team, and here to speak on their behalf is Brandon Turner.
I wasn't sure I was going to have to speak, so work with me here. On behalf of the team, I would just like to thank North Penn for this honor. I'd like to thank the coaches, of course, just for putting in the time, all the hard work they did. That team in 2006 was a unique team, as they said. Coach Jones' first year, and Coach Schwanker was still around, so we got to have a new coach, and we also got to have our old coach there every day. The one thing that I remember about that team more than anything else was just we had a lot of fun. Had practice, had meets, everywhere we went, a lot of laughing, a lot of joking. So on behalf of the team, I just wanted to say thank you for this, and that's it. Good thing.
I'll be brief. I'm Coach Jones. To say this was a unique team is an understatement. This is a collection of characters up here, but they were characters with character. You know, this is an outstanding group of young men, and I couldn't be prouder of them. So thank you guys. Thank you for the support from North Penn and our great parents, and that's it. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks, guys. We're going to move on to our second team induction tonight. And if the 2007 boys cross country team can start moseying toward the front. In 2007, the boys cross country team seemingly came out of nowhere. In preseason publications, their name was barely mentioned. While North Penn always produced strong cross-country teams, it had been a decade since their last District 1 title, and the Knights had never captured a state championship. But they had a couple of determined seniors, Zach Montijo and Zach Hoagland, better known as the Zach and Zach Attack. They picked up a couple of athletes from other sports. Brad Miles came over from the soccer team. Don Camasso came over from the basketball squad. And along with a bunch of promising juniors led by Brian Kuntzman, Brian Quintrell, and Tim Sarang, they started to form the best-kept secret in the state. They captured first place in early season invitationals at CB East and Carlisle, but it was a first-place finish at the Briarwood Invitational that opened a lot of eyes. They beat some pretty hefty nationally ranked talent in that invitational. More wins followed at the Salesianum and Manhattan College Invitationals. Meanwhile, in the dual meet season, the Knights marched through without a blemish. They went a perfect 11-0 in dual meets. In the postseason, they won both the Suburban 1 and District 1 championships. And at the state finals, there was little suspense, little drama, as the Knights won by a large margin, 78 points ahead of the second-place finisher. At the state championships, balance was the key. 5 runners finished in the top 40. Brad Miles 4th, Zach Mojito 6th, Zach Hoagland 16th, Brian Quintrell 30th, and Tim Starring 36th. History was made that year. North Penn had its first cross-country state championship in school history, boys or girls. The head coach was Ron Jarris, and he is here to take us further.
If you can keep that picture up a minute yet. Take a look at the first line all the way to the right. At just about every invitational, and especially the state meet, every other team, every other runner on every other team looked like the guy on the right. And if you follow us, it's kind of down and up. You know, we looked out of place. We didn't look like distance runners, but we didn't care. We were distance runners. I'd like to thank the NPAAA for honoring the achievements and hard work of the men you see behind me. I'd like to thank North Penn School District for the support of the athletic programs. I'd like to thank the parents, because as they say, if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have any runners. But more importantly, it's their support and their enthusiasm when they came out to meets and would cheer them as they ran. Next, I'd like to thank Coach Pirelli. He took the time to learn my program and concepts, and it's important because it gave one voice to the program. He knew what was going on. He used it very well. He used it to success in the winter and made it a true 3-season program. We had him in the winter, or in the fall for cross country. He worked with them in the winter, and then I happily got them back after 2 seasons of training for spring track. Cross country is a little different than most sports. It's the low score that wins. If you place your runners 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th in a meet, your score is 15. It's the best score you can have. If you also get 6th and 7th place, the best another team can do is 50 points. Out of the 11 meets that we ran, dual meets, 10 of them, North Penn scored 15. 6 of them, the opponents had 50. The best score that any team had against us was 46. As was stated, we weren't on anyone's radar in the beginning. We didn't do much the year before. We were 14th at districts. Okay? But by the 5th week, all of a sudden, the reports on the XC internet were saying things like, ignore North Penn at your own risk. Okay. By the end of the season, we were number 1 in the state, number 1 in the Northeast, and number 7 in the country. Team members here tonight. JV members, Alex Delabono, if you will step forward or wave or something so they know who you are. Nick Swan, Steve Eastlack, Brandon Rothenberger, Mike Wazlowski. The varsity, that person that for some reason let himself be talked into giving up soccer to come out and run cross country, Brad Miles. Second team All-State, placed third in team scoring at the state meet. Dominic Camasso, basketball player who thought he'd get in shape. Brian Quintrell would later run on the state championship and record-holding 4x8 a year later. And the two that we affectionately called the Zach Attack, Zach Hoagland and Zach Montijo. Zach Montijo was first team All-State. He placed third in team scoring. Zach Hoagland was 12th in team scoring. At that meet, the state meet, the team scored 90 points. The only team to score under 100. If you look at the record, you'll see many times the state championship was won with over 200 points. We scored 90. Oh, you got something?
Sure.
Okay.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to speak on behalf of the 2007 state cross-country team. We obviously are here because we won the state meet on that day in November, but it was so much more than that. It was actually, all the preparation from a year beforehand when we were 14th in the district my junior year, and we came together and we said, look, we have everyone returning. We got a couple new people to join us here who are pretty good, and we were able to have a goal in mind to come and go for that state championship, which seemed like pretty unrealistic to even all of us on the team. But through the support of our coaches, everyone's united mindset on the team, and also through the support of the parents, which is coming back 8 years later, you realize how important that is. Just made that possible. So thank you so much for all that you do, and for everyone at North Penn for your support. And it's just been such an awesome experience to have and to look back upon. So thank you so much.
A reminder, at the conclusion of the program, we invite everyone to head down the hallway, straight down the auditorium lobby toward the gym lobby, where you can take a look at both the Lifetime Achievement inductee plaque as well as those who were inducted tonight as you make your way toward the gym. Our third team being inducted into the Hall of Fame tonight is the 2008 North Penn Knights boys indoor track team, and I'll ask them to come forward along with their coaches at this time. We mentioned 2 years prior that the 2006 team had won a state championship in the first year of coaching for Jay Jones, John Fluck, and Ernie Pirelli. Knowing what it would take to return to the top of the Keystone State, the coaches set out to raise the expectations for their team and saw that success soon followed. With a variety of contributions from individual runners, jumpers, and shot putters, along with some very impressive relay teams, the Knights found themselves as one of the top teams in the state, headed to the state meet at Penn State. In State College, the Knights turned in a memorable performance, led by the 4x800 relay team of Brian Quintrell, Justin Bookheimer, Steve Franks, and Zach Montijo, who won a gold medal and set a state record in the process. Not surprisingly, Montijo, Bookheimer, and Franks took 2nd, 5th, and 6th in the individual 800-meter race. Additionally, the 4x400 relay team of Bookheimer, Montijo, Alex Hill, and Mike Joel took silver. Their performance clinched the team title for the Knights. On an individual basis, Sean Gentry was a double medalist with a 4th place finish in the high jump and a 6th place finish in the triple jump, while James Green took 5th in the shot put. After the state meet, the 4x800 relay team won the National Scholastic Indoor Championship in New York City with the fastest time in the country. This is a team that had high expectations and exceeded them to cement their place in North Penn athletic history. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the 2008 North Penn High School Boys Indoor Track Team, and here to speak on their behalf is Steve Franks.
Let me just first say that all the accolades you're hearing about tonight are a product of this community and the sports culture at this school. It's done tremendous things for not just us, but all those you heard speak before us and those who haven't had an opportunity to speak before you, and thank you. I was a graduate in 2008 of North Penn, and I was a half-miler for Jay Jones and the North Penn track team. And I can honestly say I never thought I would thank these people for making me run hundreds of miles through some harsh winter weather. But here I am, and make no mistake about it, these coaches are responsible for every athletic success story standing here behind me. In life, sometimes it's hard to realize how great the good times are when you're right in the middle of them. But I think it's always important to look back and recognize why that's the case. This team achieved tremendous levels of success and had a lot of fun doing it. It's a pretty rare combination. For many of us, this track team infused our character with discipline, integrity, and a little bit of grit, traits that continue to serve us as students, professionals, and most importantly, people. Looking back on it now, our coaches had to have a hell of a lot of strength and patience to infuse that kind of stuff in a bunch of teenage punks that we were. Finally, it's not too often that we get to thank those responsible for our greatest of times. So to our parents, families, teammates, coaching staff, and the North Penn Alumni Athletic Association, we want to thank you for this magical run, an everlasting set of memories, and our induction into the Hall of Fame.
I'm back, sorry. From 06 to 08 was just an amazing ride for me. You know, my wonderful supporting wife, I got married a week after the state championship in 06. I spent my honeymoon literally at the national championship watching those guys run the 4x8. And then my anniversary 2 years later watching those guys win the national championship. So thank you, Monique. You've been tremendous in supporting me and this group. You know, as someone who continued coaching, and I'm still coaching to this day, and they'll probably take me out on a stretcher, to sum this group up right here, you know, I remember one time we were on the track doing a workout, and Montiel was killing it, Book and the crew were right there, and he was leading everyone. And I'm like, Zach, you don't have to lead everyone, pull back. And remember what you told me?
What did I tell you, Coach?
You told me pride, orgullo. You said it in Spanish. And when I think of these guys, that's what they had. And in everything they did and the way they did it, they took tremendous pride in that, and they represented North Penn extremely well to the point where they were probably the humblest group of athletes, being so accomplished in everything that I'm going to give them their chance to shine. Normally we shied away from reporters in the spotlight, but I would love for them to speak up in their new manly voices now as they exit the stage and tell everybody who you are. Just say your name briefly, and that's it. Hey, Hill starts off.
Oh, was Alex Hill?
Ronnie Aikens.
Brian Quintrell.
Brad Miles.
Matthew White.
Nate Lipsy.
Dominic Camasso.
Zachary Montijo.
Mike Wazlowski.
Zach Hoagland.
Abu Sadiq. Michael Joel.
Justin Buchheimer.
Mitchell Cachette.
Brandon Rothenberger. Fong Wei. Alex Delabono.
Sam Burnett. Steve Eastlack.
Nick Swan.
Thanks, guys. Some of you, I think, can stay here and move back toward the stage. We will honor our final team of the evening, our final presentation tonight. It's the 2008 Boys Cross Country State Champions. Of course, we just heard about the 2007 state champion team, first in school history. And when they moved on to 2008, the Zach attack, both Zachs were gone, but 5 of their top 7 runners returned. However, the odds were against a state championship repeat, because since 1939, only 4 schools had ever gone back-to-back in cross country. Early on, the practice times were right on target, but something was missing in some of the early invitationals. They finished second at both Carlisle and Briarwood, but they soon found their confidence winning at CB East and the prestigious Salesianum Invitationals, and that was the launching pad. From there was no stopping the 2008 Knights. They repeated at the Manhattan College Invitational, again went 11-0 in dual meet competition. They breezed through Suburban 1, captured another District 1 title, and again won by a large margin at the state champions, becoming just the 5th cross-country team in Pennsylvania history to repeat in boys cross-country. At the state meet, Brad Miles finished 3rd, Sam Burnett 5th, Brian Quintrell 18th, Tim Storing 27th, Brian Kutzman 39th, Don Camasso 59th, and Alex Delabono 128th. Again, the head coach was Ron Jaros, and can bring his team forward.
I go through the introductions of each one again, but the only 2 people that are actually missing are the 2 Zachs. Everybody else is the same except for Sam Burnett, another new pickup who decided he'd try cross country. Didn't really like it until we hit the hill. After that, he thought, oh, this could be fun, and was our number 2 runner for the rest of the season. In the reports, it said, underdog North Penn claims back-to-back state crowns. How does the defending champion be an underdog? Well, first, we compete in the Suburban 1 League, which is in District 1. Quote, many consider District 1 championship the most difficult in the state from which to advance to the state meet. The 5 state qualifying teams from District 1 finished in the top 7 at the state meet. 4 of those teams are in Suburban 1. So we're competing against the top teams in the state every week. There were some glitches in the beginning of this year. At Carlisle, well, Brad's going to take care of that. But we came back. At the state meet, the reporter wrote down, or had in his publication, that North Penn had undergone a complete metamorphosis since that late September afternoon, and remarked about our casualness during the warm-up the day before the meet. She said that would be the first indication to the rest of the state that they were in trouble. Again, we scored 92 points, the only team to score under 100. Another great accomplishment. The varsity, guys, would you step forward? Okay. 5 of these ran the year before. I would like to give credit to Zach and Zach. I think they are responsible for a lot of this. Because of their dedication and drive and willing to work, these guys who ran with them the year before got to see what that was like and were able to do it again. A definition of confidence is the feeling you have before you fully realize the situation. Problem was, at the beginning of the season, these guys knew the situation, and that's why they were so tight, trying to do something too far ahead. Okay. As was mentioned, once we hit mid-season and started to realize how good they were, they started to relax. Okay. Brad?
Well, Jairus took most of the words out of my mouth, but we lost 2 extremely great and talented leaders the year before us in the 2 Zachs. We lost 2 leaders, but what they instilled in us, we had 7 leaders on the varsity team the next year. So it was 7 leaders that were able to make a culture and environment of a cross-country team with the right mindset to win another state championship. We didn't know how good we were going to be. It definitely helped having Sam come from soccer and boost our team, but we didn't know how we were going to be. We lost our first race at Briarwood. We lost by 1 point to the number 3 team in the nation. And then a little bit later, we came up against North Allegheny at Carlisle Invitational, and we lost by, I think it was 53 points? 53 points to the number 1 team in the state. So we knew that they were good, but then again, we did have 7 leaders on this team. Whenever one person was down, the other one picked each other up, and we just kept that enthusiasm and that encouragement going throughout the entire season. I don't know if anybody here is very familiar with cross country, but this is the closest band of brothers that I've ever had in my life, and they encourage you and just make you, fine-tune you to be the best person that you can be on and off the course. So I want to say thank you to these guys for all the accomplishments that we're able to have together. Also to our coaches who just did an incredible job of training us to be men on the course and off the course. So thank you.
One last thing, this is all possible because of membership and donations. Several of the team are already members. It's a one-time donation. And if you have any of the programs or the papers, they have them here that you can join or make a donation in someone else's name. It's greatly appreciated. We want to keep on doing these programs and carrying on and having other athletes and other teams come up and be honored as well. So your patronage is something that we really will appreciate. Thank you.
Well, what a special night. Thank you for coming. That concludes our program. Please go see the plaques down there of all our past inductees and our new inductees that are fresh off the presses. Thanks again for coming, folks. Good night.